Greetings, dear ones. Happy Friday, the 25th of September. As we move into this first week of fall, hoping you are able to feel and enjoy the delicious transition point. We had some nice, cool weather last week. Extremely cool at night, as a matter of fact, at least here on the East Coast. And this week we're warming up a little bit more than typical. So it's very interesting that we're kind of in between. Although the official date of fall, beginning the 22nd, this past Tuesday, we're not exactly feeling that. So another one of the indicators that we are at a pause or stasis point. And if any of you have been really exposed to or worked with or are energy healers, you know that energy moves in an expansion and then a stasis or a pause and then a contraction. And that cycle is throughout our world, throughout the world of nature, throughout the seasons, throughout the earth and the soil itself. So we also, being so very linked with the earth and nature, do experience that. We're at a point just at the beginning of fall where, yes, the leaves are beginning to turn, and in many places they are very apparent, but it's this slow, kind of stretched out time that many are experiencing. We've had so much turmoil, so many events and disasters over the past, well, certainly years, but this past month has been radically so. And many experiencing still the grieving of that was sparked or triggered or stands out with the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but moreover, all of the pets. There is an inordinate amount of pets, cats, and dogs leaving in a very short period of time. I have never encountered that. I mentioned it last week, but there is reason for this. They have one of their main purposes is, as I mentioned last week, to hold our emotional and physical being and to take on or carry that which we're experiencing and feeling. And there has been certainly an overload of that this year, not only on us, but on our animals, which they, on a soul basis, take on as part of their work here. But also, we've turned to them and really clung to them perhaps a bit more than usual because of all our distress and fear and upset and anger and uncertainty. So I remember at the beginning of the shutdown here on the East Coast, I was hearing, of course, people were trying to get out and walk a bit more and walking their animals and maybe walking their dogs and going into areas that they may not have done before that. And there was such a lot of anger between and among the dogs, barking in such a way that I'd never heard before. And there was a lot of anger we were feeling at what was going on, at the constrictions and just the, threat of learning what this virus could do. So our animals are very, very sensitive and very, very in tune to us, as is the earth. This is not a separate, we are not separate from the earth, from nature, from what goes on deep in the earth, from the seasons and cycles. We are not separate from the animals, whether they be our domesticated animals or wildlife. We are all part of a synergistic, synchronous, interactive, interrelated, interdependent system. And we're seeing such repercussions around the world of both our actions, our choices that we've made up until now as a species in regard to the earth and resources, but also our emotional state. The earth and we are interconnected just as we are with our family, our relatives, our children. And that energy of emotions are strong and powerful. And the disconnect that we have uh, been exhibiting with the earth for so many years at this point has taken its toll. We know in any relationship, be it a friendship, be it family, if you do not maintain contact, if you do not interact with, if you do not communicate with, if you do not visit with, spend time with, if you do not respect and recognize and acknowledge who they are and what is going on with them, if you don't feel for, have empathy and compassion for the other in any relationship, friendship, relative, or what have you, the relationship is going to break down. The relationship is going to fall apart, and one or the other of the parties is going to be deeply affected, perhaps a little more so than other. But in this case, it is both the earth being affected by our lack of relationship, our lack of respect and recognition and acknowledgement of the beingness of the land, of trees, mountains, etc., etc., etc. One of the conferences that I attended last week was a UN forum presented by indigenous female leaders around the world, and they have been working through the UN and through talks with private companies to ask that they acknowledge in their practices the rights of the land and wildlife and the plants and trees, and have worked very diligently and in cooperation with banks, huge banks, and insurance companies, that they divest their interest in projects and other companies that are not looking to sustainability, who are abusing the land and resources and wildlife. And they've made great progress. Several of the largest banks in the world are pulling out of or choosing to no longer invest in their partners, previous partners, who are continuing these practices. Again, the UN is in session this week, and there are many groups, indigenous groups, different countries, who are asking that the rights of nature be recognized just as human rights, that there is that recognition so that laws and policies can be made with the acknowledgement of that right to life, right to live, right to thrive, right to be free, that they are not things that can be possessed and taken and abused. So there is movement forward. There have been conferences this current week of large companies coming together to discuss and plan and make policy about sustainability, about how it's not an either or. It's not either the economy or sustainability. It isn't either we take what we want and that's how we prosper, or we look at sustainability. It is becoming extremely apparent to investment groups, funds, large funds, as well as banks and insurance companies that I already mentioned, and many companies around the world and governments are seeing that the old way of using resources is actually economically folly. It is not enabling countries to grow. It isn't um, allowing for human expansion and development. Not to mention, of course, the inequality and all of the damage that can occur. Excuse me, I'm just going to adjust the camera a bit. So there is this forward movement economically, policy making, governments around the world who are making choices. A beautiful book I was presented because I'm very, very much a follower of Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and the science community who is looking to the future and what we have discovered at this point that isn't in the mainstream as yet. It really, in some instances, has been blocked, just as information from our own CDC and FDA is being diverted and adjusted instead of allowing for the pure science to come forth. And I recommend this to everyone. This is called Our Moment of Choice, Evolutionary Visions and Hope for the Future. There are many, many, many different contributors. It just came out. Oops, sorry. It just came out. Some of the contributors that you may or may not know is Michael Beckwith, Joan Boroshenko, Greg Braden, Deepak Chopra, of course, Larry and Barbara Dossi, which are physicians who have been working and acknowledging functional medicine and complementary medicine for decades. Barbara Marks Hubbard, prior to her passing, she left this particular article. Jean Houston, Lynn McTaggart, some of the names you may know, and many, many, many more that you may not know. So I highly recommend this. There are ideas, there are innovative policies and ways of really viewing our future. And that's really juxtaposed with the huge amount of fear and the divisiveness and polarity. You know, if I were to say anything about what's presenting energetically this week is, as I mentioned, that stasis point. And it's not that things have stopped. Things are still moving, but they're moving at kind of a pause, or that moment in between breaths, in between the inhale and the exhale. And we have really been exposed to or at the mercy of the two extremes of the polarized, not only political uh, world or the political scene right now around the world, because there are so many different cultures rising up and wanting their voice to be heard and for freedoms to be recognized and to have the rights that many countries and democratic countries have enjoyed for decades, if not centuries. And it is a deciding time. And aligned with the fall, this moment, this beginning of fall, where things begin to slow down and begin the deathing process that I spoke about and mentioned last week. And in preparation for the introspection and internal exploration and quiet time, still time that winter brings. And while this may be the pause before the storm of the upcoming elections, there is a great deal that must be done in preparation. Certainly, if you have not double checked to see whether you are registered to vote in your state, in your county, please, please make sure that you are aware of the voting regulations and the processes in your particular region or state. It varies from state to state. The way mail-in voting occurs, if that's your plan, but or whether, again, what the in-person voting is going to look like, whether you are, there have been, for many, many years, there's been the proposition or the possibility of having the election day, certainly for the large election every 4 years for president and seats in the Senate, etc., that this be a national day, a national holiday, which would allow people the time to do what they need to do instead of trying to squeeze in work and home and family and all the other tasks that we have and extend ourselves to vote, which is our obligation as citizens, which is our right, and which is really where each of us must stand at this moment with those two apparently polarized perspectives of how we're either going to move into the future and completely change the basis of our economies, which has been in the old way based on resources, the obtaining and owning and distributing of a finite number of resources, a finite amount of resources. And that has been for the past, as I've mentioned before, 120, 130 years, whatever it's been, based, maybe more, 150, in coal and natural gas and petroleum. Our economies have circled around those particular resources primarily. And, previously it was gold. Prior to that, it was other resources, spices, and previous to that, oils, essential oils. So the economies of the world, or the basis of the economies of the world, have changed over the millennia and can do so now and must, as so many economic systems and companies are seeing right now. So where do you stand in that? What choices are you making in your personal life? What choices are you going to make in the upcoming election? Um, it is coming down to that, strangely enough, one moment in time. as so many stories in literature have presented. Someone reminded me recently of the uh, L'Engle books, Madeleine L'Engle, who wrote A Wrinkle in Time, and things coming down to that, to a one decisive moment. And this election happens to be that. So I encourage you to really make that choice to stand in whatever is your truth, and to really explore what that truth is. We have a period of time within which you can sit and make that choice. But if you are not registered, if you have not made sure that you have a way to assure that your vote is counted, then you will not have that choice. And we are returning then to the position of that we found ourselves in as children, and not having that choice. This is an opportunity for humanity to become more adult, to mature, to take that responsibility for our lives, for our world, for and on behalf of our children and children's children for many generations to come. Decisions being made now, decisions being made by governments around the world, decisions that will be made by our Supreme Court directly will affect our environmental choices for generations to come. So please, you know, in a democracy, we have the ability to participate in so many other systems and countries. Your voice, your stand cannot be, or one stand cannot be, uh, make a difference or be counted. So do not allow this amazing democratic project that has been going on for over 200 years to disappear. It is representative of the way in which cooperation between and among people, between and among the land, nature, the environment, bio eco, ecosystems. That's how they work. There is cooperation and collaboration between and among very diverse parts of an ecosystem. We must also become that cooperative, collaborative species between and among ourselves, between and among other countries, between and among the other beings on our planet. Um, the only other thing I really invite you to do is to feel this opportunity for pause within you. We're at the beginning of what is usually the rush towards the holidays. None of us are able to really see or foresee what will occur in the coming months in regard to the holidays. Things are going to be quite different as far as the precautions and changes that the virus, the pandemic, is um, going to be presenting itself. So breathe. I invite you to breathe now. This is a breathing moment. We have gone through such tumult with the disasters, the fires, the tropical storms, volcanoes recently. So I invite you to allow these last days of the month into the beginning of October to take some extra time. Take some extra time to breathe into your body, your life, your country, your choices, and allow yourself the luxury, the right to choose. This week, so many clients were encountering the ways in which their parent had made choices for them without really taking them into account. Um, Purposefully, knowingly making choices that will or does cost a child, and or ignoring how a child is feeling and being affected. Even in the best of families, it is very, very difficult, or let me say this, one must make an extreme effort to feel into and sense and pick up the tiny clues and bites of information that children exhibit without actually saying so. They cannot say what they really feel when they're younger because they don't have the intellect to be able to do so, and aren't meant to, of course. And then, even as they're a bit older, they are unable to because of the potential consequences for them. Not necessarily that a parent is going to do something horrific physically, although that does happen in many families. But from a child's perspective, when you are in that powerless, no control over the adults and the world around you, and literally trapped for many years because you cannot go out on your own and make a living and live somewhere other than in this home. Um, you have to adjust yourself in order to live within that which is extremely scary or painful or uh, sorrowful. And what we're experiencing right now with the disasters, with the deathing of so many of our pets and vast numbers of animals in the wild, and so much provocation of anger. And these emotions are and always have been held within our bodies, within our system, within our the part of our energy field that is in our bodies, that is embedded through and um, infuses our bodies. And this is an opportunity. Everything is being kicked up. Everything is causing us to feel. We have become such experts individually in shielding, in numbing, in rationalizing, diverting, uh, excusing, uh, using objects, substances, etc., to avoid feeling. And that is because the defense system that was created in those younger years is in full effect and has no idea that you are now an adult. It continues to function and protect the child, which is still alive and still pretty much directing what we do, what we say, what we think, and what we feel or not feel. And so when I'm working with clients and in the process that I've developed to bring forth those emotions, which allow for a transformation. We can make a lot of changes when we're cognitively aware and adjust our behavior, but that isn't enough to evolve a species. In order to truly evolve, we must access and tap into those deeper, larger, volatile, painful, huge to a child emotions. And that's what we're seeing. It's all being kicked up. Many are angry at leaders that are making the choices that they are. But on the other hand, if they weren't doing this, it would not give us the opportunity to feel into our personal lives where those same emotions were experienced and implanted in our system, and giving us the opportunity to transform them, to truly, permanently change ourselves, not merely adjust, for it does not allow for the level of expansion and growth that we are seeking in our lives, or the cessation of the disaster or radical experience that we are having, be it a major illness, be it financial crisis, be it a breakdown of relationships, marriages, etc. These are all provocations or catalysts to go to a depth of transformation that must occur, or our systems break down. That same replication is going on a larger scale. We are at a point in which, if we do not make some choices very, very quickly in regard to the environment, it may be too late. We are becoming ill not merely from the pandemic or this virus. We are becoming ill from the way we eat and what we breathe and how we feel about ourselves and the world. And this amazing point in time, it is breathtaking, it is awe-inspiring, it is mind-boggling that we are being given the opportunity to individually choose and collectively choose how we want to be in future, to grow, to evolve out of the baser levels of polarity, duality, and experience a more enlightened, if you will, or aware, or conscious, or evolved, or a much higher frequency of duality. And all of this is in your hands. You have the power. You have the ability to choose. And you're given at this moment a pause point to really sit deeply with yourself and find out what your innate, your inner wisdom, your internal compass is inviting you, leading you, showing you, guiding you to do. Not our heads, for they are entwined inextricably with that defense system, and it will fool you into behaving and choosing based in a child's necessity for that protection. And so I invite each and every one of you at this point to begin to breathe. Notice your breath. Notice how it is moving or how it is not moving, perhaps shallowly from here up. Perhaps you don't actually feel it. It's always best to find your sits bones and settle on them so that you are able to feel your body, so you are able to experience your own vessel, your own vehicle. These practices that I teach are not about going up and out and escaping. That we have all done very, very well for many, many years as a means of survival. At this point in time, spirituality is about being in you, as you, with you, from you, the divine of you, and the divine in all things. To feel that unity, to feel and experience, not just think about it, not just experience it when you're beyond this plane of existence, but here and now, in and as you. So I always invite everyone to say to yourself or say out loud, I am asking and I am allowing my body. I am asking and I am allowing my energy field. I am asking and I am allowing my wider self. And that wider self is what is connected to your soul self. I am asking and I am allowing my guides and teachers and masters. I am asking and I am allowing all parts of me, all times of me, to join me here and now, assisting me, guiding me, leading me down and inside of me, my system, my vessel, enabling me to experience my inner verse. And just again noticing your breath, no right way, no wrong way. But as you settle down and in, allowing your energy field to drop down, for generally we hold it up and in the upper part of our body from about our upper chest upward, attempting to handle and face the world from our minds and from our shoulders, bearing things and holding and carrying the burdens, or from our will to just push through and force our way, force ourselves. And to allow your energy field to come down and in takes a bit of time. And so I encourage you to practice this. Coming back to listen to this recording from the point of the meditation or healing practice, so that you have the space and the time to allow your energy field to sink down and in. Sometimes that may feel like slow molasses. Our backs generally up, softening your body, allowing your skeletal structure to hold you up, which it was meant to do, designed to do. Sometimes people feel it as a filling in. Sometimes it feels as if you are becoming more substantial or heavier in your chair or on the couch that you're sitting. But know that even in this moment, and certainly all moments, you are not alone. There is always assistance. There is always help. This is a big project, this earth and this being human. And you came with many experts, many helpers, many teachers. But also know that it is you and your experience that is creating feedback to those on your team and beyond. For this is a different experiment than ever before. Given the speed at which we are evolving as a species in physical form, with and in conjunction with all the many beings on this planet. Animals, birds, trees, rocks, mushrooms, insects, wide variety of plants, are involved in this project, Earth. Allow yourself to sink ever more deeply. Nothing you need do when you are in true allowing your energy field, your wider self, your helpers will actually do this for you. It is only our human minds that have caused us to forget. Our human emotional body that has caused us to stop feeling and experiencing the deeper aspects of us, the deeper sensations. It is natural and automatic that we tend to move away from danger or pain or sadness. And so our energy field at the direction of our defense system pulls us out of ourselves. But that also prevents us from sensating our own bodies, our own beings, making it extremely difficult to feel the other. So at this choice point in time, give yourself the gift, the opportunity to settle down and in moving past the fears and anger and sadness and hurt of the human child's experience, sinking down deeper beyond, past, and under to a deeper place within you that knows that knows your truth. That knows what is exactly right and good and true for you. Place deep, deep within you that knows of the depth of connection between and among all humans. That knows the relationship between and among all aspects of this earth and including humans. It is not us and the rest of the earth. It is we. We are the earth. Allow yourself to drop even deeper. And in that allowing, there is no effort, there is no work, there is no focus, there is no intention, there is no push. There is only allow. Your energy field, your wider self know exactly what to do. Much like falling asleep, you must allow for it to occur. And as you drop ever deeper within your inner verse, the universe within you, you can feel the unity, not just know, not in vision, not in mind, not in sight, but truly experience experience your greater family, your unique and purposeful place within this great web of life. sensate. No brain, no mind needed. The more you allow yourself to drop deep within yourself, the more individuated and yet interconnected with all that is. And in this felt sense of interconnectedness, interrelatedness, there is profound security. Exquisite safety. For you experience the unity, the oneness of a unified field and in this unified field, your dreams, your desires, your purposeful plan is woven in and through this unified field. Creating designing implanting a better life, a better life for you, which automatically ripples through this unified field, physicalizing a better life for all beings. For when you are experiencing these levels of you, or those profound and wise desires and dreams and wishes source from, your wider self, transmitting through your innate, through your essence self, those dreams and desires, they automatically benefit and create a better life for all beings. Sink one level deeper, again without effort, without doing. Sink deeper into these desires, these dreams, these wishes, as your field, your body sits in your unique way within the unified field. No visioning, no sight, no thought. Simply allowing, simply sitting, simply being. You may return to this place as often as you like, for there is great benefit for you physically, emotionally, energetically, mentally, spiritually. which benefits all beings. For you are a vital point within that unified field. Your life, your dreams, your desires, your wishes matter and create the reweaving the strengthening, the physicalizing of that deeper you as part of the whole. And as the consolidating and incorporating of all that you have experienced and felt in this practice, again allowing your energy field and your wider self and your deeper knowing to gently and at your own pace, in your own way, enable you to move from a less physical experience back to a more physical experience in this consensus reality. This time and space point called Earth September 25th, 2020. Next week, the 1st of October, Thursday evening, I will be holding a deeper practice such as this to set in even more deeply your choices, your desires, your dreams, your wishes for you, for this country, for the planet. The Soul Election Group. It will be occurring on Zoom at 8 o'clock. Please either private message me here on Facebook, or if you happen to listen to this on YouTube, then I encourage you to just email me at Andrea at healersuniverse.com to let me know so that I can send out the passcode for the Soul Election Group this coming Thursday, October 1st at 8 p.m. when we're going to extend and deepen this practice. Should be about 75 minutes. So it's donation only. Part of the donation will be going to indigenous tribes in this country and Brazil. So please keep that in mind as you make your donation for this, and I'll send you all the information of how to do that when you let me know you will be attending. So as always, it is with the profoundest of honor and deep, deep gratitude for your presence here on the planet, for the choices that you make, for simply being. With great love for you and your path, I bid you adieu. Until next time, next week, Friday at noon. Bye-bye.